Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, Prasanti Mataji, whenever you're ready, you can start Mataji with the reading.
Sure, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistakim. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 22. Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis, from text 22 to 38. From text 20. The text 20. Thus the young girls of Vrindavana, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, accepted that they had suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river. But they still desired to successfully complete their vow, and since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to him to cleanse away all their sins. Text 21. Seeing them bow down like that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Devaki, gave them back their garments, feeling compassionate towards them and satisfied by their act. Text 22. Although the gopis had been thoroughly cheated, deprived of their modesty, ridiculed, and made to act just like toy dolls, and although their clothing had been stolen, they did not feel at all inimical towards Sri Krishna. Rather, they are very simply joyful to have this opportunity to associate with their beloved. Text 23. The gopis were addicted to associating with their beloved Krishna, and thus they became captivated by him. Thus, even after putting their clothes on, they did not move. They simply remained where they are, shyly glancing at him. Text 24. The Supreme Lord understood the determination of the gopis in executing their strict vow. The Lord also knew that the girls desired to touch his lotus feet, and thus Lord Damodara Krishna spoke to them as follows. Text 25. Lord Krishna said, O saintly girls, I understand that your real motive in this austerity has been to worship me. The intent of years is approved of by me, and indeed it must come to pass. Text 26. The desire of those who fix their minds on me does not lead to material desires for sense gratification, just as barley corns buried by the sun and then cooked can no longer grow into new sprouts. Text 27. Go now, girls, and return to Vraja. Your desire is fulfilled. For in my company, you will enjoy the coming nights. After all, this was the purpose of your vow to worship goddesses Katyayani, O pure hearted ones. Text 28. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the young girls, their desire now fulfilled, could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to the village of Raja, meditating all the while upon his lotus feet. Text 29. Sometime later, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki, surrounded by his cowherd friends and accompanied by his elder brother Balarama, went a, went a good distance away from Vrindavana, herding the cows. Text 30. When the sun's heat became intense, Lord Krishna saw that the trees were acting as umbrellas by shading him, and thus he spoke as follows to his boyfriends. Text 31 to 32. Lord Krishna said, O Stoka Krishna and Amshu, O Sridhama, Subala and Arjuna, O Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojasvi, Devaprastha and Varuthapa, Just see these greatly fortunate trees, whose lives are completely dedicated to the benefit of others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat, and snow, they protect us from these elements. Text 33. Just see how these trees are maintaining every living entity. Their birth is successful. Their behavior is just like that of great personalities. For anyone who asks anything from a tree never goes away disappointed. Text 34. These trees fulfill one's desires with their leaves, flowers, and fruits, their shade, roots, bark, and wood, and also with their fragrance, sap, ashes, pulp, and shots. Text 35. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. Text 36. Thus, moving among the trees whose branches were bent down by their abundance of twigs, fruits, flowers, and leaves, Lord Krishna came to the Yamuna river. Text 37. The cowherd boys let the cows drink the clear, cool, and wholesome water of the Yamuna. O King Parikshit, the cowherd boys themselves also drank the sweet water to their full satisfaction. Text 38. Then, O king, the cowherd boys began herding the animals in a leisurely way within a small forest along the Yamuna. But soon they became afflicted by hunger and approaching Krishna and Balarama spoke as follows. Thus ends the chapter 22 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prashanti Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Please accept my humble obeisances, Krishna and Prabhuji. All goes to Sri Prabhupada. Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share few points from Srimad Bhagavatam, purports and translations for my own purification. And Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining for today's Bhagavatam session. And thank you Prashanti Mataji for reading the today's sections Bhagavatam slokas translation. So we'll start with prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पश्चात्तदेशतारिणि. जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 22, title Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis, from slokas 20 to 38. So just to give a background, we are in the pastimes of Supreme Lord Krishna that he performed in Vrindavana. So in the last chapter also we heard how Krishna entered into the Vrindavana forest upon the arrival of the autumn, and then we also heard how the young cowherd girls they beautifully sang the Venu Gita, the glorification of the Supreme Lord Krishna's flute. So in this chapter so far we heard how the marriageable daughters of the cowherd men worshipped Katyayani to get Supreme Lord Krishna as their husband, and how Krishna stole the garments of the young girls. Of course, this is a very elevated topic, neither qualified nor realized, but I'll share few points from the purpose. And we also heard yesterday from His Grace Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu is nicely, very beautifully summarized the purpose of gopis worshipping demigod Mother Katyayani is to get Krishna as their husband, not for any material desires like that. So in the similar manner, so practicing devotees also, when they offer prayers to the demigods, So they request, they pray to help us in progressing in Krishna consciousness, not for any material benefits. Because these demigods also, of course, all the devotees, they don't disrespect the demigods because they are the great devotees of the Supreme Lord and performing uh, wonderful service in managing the universal affairs. So, and continuing that, so and Prabhuji also narrated very nicely how Krishna stole the garments and the discussion between the gopis and Krishna. And the last sloka, also, I mean 19th sloka, we saw the last section of the last sloka. So the Krishna asking the gopis, the young girls who are not married at so asking that, they are saying that so you bathed naked while executing your vow, so this is an offense against the demigods. So to counteract, what they should do, offer their obeisances while placing your joint palms above your heads, because they are covering their private parts with the palms. So now Krishna is asking them to join the palms and offer their obeisances to him. Um, so and then in this, as Krishna asked from 20th sloka onwards, so we see that the young girls of Vrindavana, considering what Lord Achyuta had told them, they accepted it, and they suffered a fall down from their vow by bathing naked in the river. So, and they wanted to fulfill this vow, the vrata, what they have taken. So, and since Lord Krishna is himself the ultimate result of all pious activities, they offered their obeisances to Supreme Lord Krishna to cleanse away all their senses. And in the purport also it is mentioned that this is a transcendental position of Krishna consciousness. So whoever in an exalted position of the Krishna consciousness, so they accept whatever Krishna has mentioned, and they offer everything to Krishna. So here also the gopis, they decided to renounce their so-called family tradition or morality. Instead, they simply surrender to the Supreme Lord. So the complete surrender. And of course, yeah, this we have to look at from the spiritual vision, where the Supreme Lord Krishna or gopis, they don't have any material desire to enjoy each other, like what we see in this material world between a young girl and a young boy. So, but Krishna is attracted to their intense love for him. So, not anything related to enjoying the gopis or anything like that. Of course, we heard in the upcoming slokas also how Krishna saw the gopis pure devotion. So, and of course, Prabhupada also mentions that gopis actually, they did not care because Krishna told that it is an offense against the demigods taking bath with unrest in the river. But gopis did not consider or not cared for Varuna or any other demigod. But since Krishna told, they wanted to satisfy Krishna, so that's why they raising their hands to their head, bowed down, whatever the Krishna mentioned, Achyutena bhivitam, like that. And whatever Krishna mentioned, so they did it. So this is the symptom of a pure devotional service. Of course, one cannot imitate this pastime, whatever Krishna is asking or whatever the young girls did it. So we cannot imitate this pastime because when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is in this earthly planet, there was a sect of group, they are called as Prakrita Sahajiya. So they were imitating Supreme Lord Krishna and trying to enjoy young girls in an unrest manner. So that's why one should not imitate like that. And in the purport it is mentioned that so the followers of ISKCON, they strictly very cautious in mingling with the girls or opposite gender. And even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Krishna appeared as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he practiced strict celibacy. So, and he rigidly avoided contact with women also, in order to carry out of his vow of loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So we should follow in that footsteps and be cautious, not imitating what Supreme Lord Krishna's these elevated pastimes. So in the next sloka we see that when the gopis bowed down, then Krishna saw them, and then he gave them back their garments, and feeling compassionate toward them and satisfied by their acting. So this is the purpose of the or perfection of the human life. So whatever the activities that we perform should please the Supreme Lord Krishna. Samsiddhir Haritoshana. So otherwise it is Bhagavatam says that simply waste of time or labor. Srama eva hi kevalam. So that should be our goal or direction. And in the next sloka, so this we see very very nice and inspiring sloka. You see that gopis how they even though they are thoroughly cheated and deprived of their modest, ridiculed and made to act just like a dolls, and although their clothes had been stolen, they did not feel at all inimical towards Sri Krishna. Rather, they were simply joyful to have this opportunity to associate with their Lord. So whether it could be pratishtha or vastrapaharana or ridiculed. So all these things, even though Krishna did it, but they were simply joyful to have this opportunity to associate with their beloved. So, and in the purport it is mentioned that quoting the Srila Prabhupada's comments, see, so this is the attitude of the gopis. And this is what even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned in the last verse of the Sistastakam. Aslisya padaratam pinastu mam adarshana marmahatam karotu va yata tata va vidadhatu lampato matprana natastu sa eva na paraha. So Mahaprabhu says that you may embrace me or trample me under your feet, or you may make me broken hearted by never being present before me. Whatever you want to do or whatever you like to do, but in spite of all that, you are my Lord eternally, and I have no other worshipable objects. So this is the final sloka that Mahaprabhu mentioned in the 8th sloka in Sistastakam. That shows the here also we see that the same attitude of gopis. So which shows that they are very high level in their pure devotional service. So, and practicing devotee also similarly, when they were put in some challenges, they think that Krishna, I mean, they see that Krishna is showering his mercy, so that they, due to this situation, they become closer to Krishna. So, taking that, they become closer to Krishna. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. So, Bhagavatam says that even though the practicing devotee, so they were put it into problems, they consider that those are the reactions of their past misdeeds and continue to progress in the path of bhakti. So they don't see a stumbling block in their progress of the Krishna consciousness. So whoever continues or progress in Krishna consciousness, even though they were put in challenges, Bhagavatam says that they are surely eligible for liberation. So they'll go back home, back to Godhead. So in the next sloka, so we see that the gopis were addicted to associating with their beloved Krishna. So until they became captivated by him, and after putting the cloths also they did not move. They simply remained where they were there. And in the purport it is mentioned that after this the gopis became more attached to the Supreme Lord Krishna, even before, compared to the before. So how Krishna stole their garments, similarly Krishna stole their minds with their love and their love also. And gopis also interpreted this instant that Krishna is also attached to them. Of course, Krishna is attached to the pure devotees. So because they wanted to, they are attached to him. So the gopis were thinking like, otherwise why would Krishna take so much trouble coming here and stealing their garments and playing with them in this way? So they see this instant as Krishna is attached to them. So that's why they glanced to him with shyness, and they could not move forward even though the garments were given and they were put on their body also. They did not move because they were so attached to Krishna. And also they see Krishna is attached to them. So in the next sloka, Krishna saw that the determination of the gopis in executing their strict vows, because they see that they wanted to fulfill this vow so that they can get Krishna as their husband. So that determination, even though Krishna mentioned that they have to come out with unrest, they came out because they wanted to fulfill the vow so that they can get Krishna as their husband. So that is a determination. This is one of the important quality that a sadhaka also should have it. Even Srila Rupa Goswami also mentions in Nectar of Instruction, right? Utsaha nichaya dhairya, nichayad. So endeavoring with the confidence, which is determination. So determination means we have to keep our intentions above our emotions. So our intention should be above our emotions. So like we may have emotions, like one day we want to chant 32 rounds. Of course it's not for me. But some devotees, they are so inspired, sometimes they chant 32 rounds, and sometimes they may not chant any rounds, so because due to the emotions. But these emotions will go and come, like, but when somebody has a determination, they will rise above emotions to meet their goals, intentions. So whether they feel like to do or not, so they will do it. So if our determination is very strong, then we chant our 16 rounds every day without fail, whether it is rain or shine, like that. And I heard from one devotee also, this utsaha nichaya dhairya, this nichaya, this determination is the binding factor between utsaha and dhairya, enthusiasm. Utsaha means enthusiasm and dhairya means being patient. Because if you have enthusiasm but no dhairya, no patience, then it may not sustain for a longer time. But if you have a dhairya, if you have patience but no utsaha, so there is no enthusiasm, then one may become lazy and there is a chance not to be able to complete our vows. But this dhairya, when we have this determination, then it is like a binding both between utsaha and dhairya. So with the determination, so the enthusiasm will remain and will continue with patience to practice our Krishna consciousness. So that's what we see in great acharyas, devotees. So with determination, they practice this Krishna consciousness, or whatever they vows, they take it. Not only the spiritual progress, so even somebody who wants to progress in material perspective also, they should have this determination. Like Hiranyakashipu, with strong determination, he performed a great austerity to please Lord Brahma for the material benedictions. Then what to speak of spiritual progress? So one should be very determined. So in the next sloka, Krishna is saying that to gopis, that these unmarriageable gopis, I understand that your real motive in this austerity, so, and it is approved by him, and then indeed it must come to pass. In the purport it is mentioned that how Krishna is free from all impures, gopis are also like that. So either gopis or Krishna, as it is mentioned earlier. So this pastime not for personal sense gratification. It is to serve Krishna. The gopis' intention is to serve Krishna, because they had intense love for Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. So they see Krishna as a wonderful boy, so instead of the Supreme Lord. So similarly we see that Mother Yashoda or Nanda Maharaj, since they are in intense love in Vatsalya Rasa, they see Krishna as their darling, not as the Supreme Lord. So Krishna also understood the pure desire of the gopis, and thus he is satisfied. And in the next sloka we see that the desire of those who fix their minds on me does not lead to material desire for sense gratification. And as comparison is also given, like how the barley corns burned by the sun, then cooked, can no longer grow into new sprouts. So this is also very inspired sloka, like whoever is practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously with their body, mind and words, Maya Veshatadhiyam. So then our anarthas will be destroyed. Nashtaprayesha Vadreshu. They will go away. Then as we progress, then our sense gratification desire also will go away. The material desire for sense gratification will be destroyed. So they will go away. So that's why we see the pure devotees, so they don't have any personal sense gratification. How we saw in this case, the gopis doesn't have any personal sense gratification. So they only wanted to serve Krishna. So even they were the pure devotees were put into in a situation where there is a great opulence or beautiful opposite gender personalities are there, they are not attracted. So they will use all the wealth in Krishna consciousness, even though they are in the association of very beautiful opposite gender personalities, they are not agitated because they see everything and anything related to Krishna consciousness. So in the next sloka, so Krishna now is telling to these young girls to return to Vraja, and in my company you will enjoy the coming nights. So here Krishna is indicating to the gopis that in the future they will be Krishna will have the rasa dance with them, fulfilling their desires. So because that is the purpose of gopis worshipping the goddess Katyayani. And in the next sloka, Sukadeva Goswami is saying that as instructed by the Supreme Lord, so these young girls, they could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to village of Raja, because they don't want to leave the association of the Supreme Lord Krishna, but with great difficulty they returned. And gopis' desires also fulfilled because they want to have Krishna as their husband, and they wanted to serve in that mode, so that is going to be fulfilled. And then in the next sloka, so until this point, until this sloka, the Sukadeva Goswami narrated the pastime of how Krishna stole the garments of these young gopis, and how he fulfilled their desire. And from this sloka onwards, so Sukadeva Goswami is going to narrate another pastime where Krishna showered his mercy on the Brahmana Patnis, the wives of these ritualistic Brahmanas. And we see that in this sloka, so Krishna, surrounded by his cowherd boyfriends and with Balarama, so they went a good distance away from Vrindavana herding the cows. As they went, then the sun's heat became intense, and they saw that trees were acting as umbrellas by shading. So now Krishna is speaking about how these trees, very wonderful that they are serving, or they are providing welfare for others. So he is talking to all his cowherd boyfriends, so calling with all their names. So saying that these greatly fortunate trees whose lives are completely dedicated to the benefit of others. Even while tolerating the wind, rain, heat and snow, they protect us from these elements. And in the purport is mentioned that Krishna is indicating that these trees are dedicated to the welfare of others. Like as we see that in the next sloka also, they are giving the leaves, flowers, fruits, shade and all those kind of things. So hence they are superior than the human beings who are not performing any welfare to others. So because in the next pastime or the chapter, we see how these ritualistic Brahmanas, they were not ready to offer food to Krishna and Balarama or the cowherd boys due to their ritualistic rules. So that's why Krishna is indicating that these trees are superior than those Brahmanas. So of course, the best welfare activity that we could do also as a practicing devotee, of course, we help ourselves to progress in the path of Krishna consciousness. Also, if somebody is hungry, and we can give them Krishna Prasadam, so that their tongue and belly will be purified, and we can invite them to the temple program or connect them to Bhakti Vriksha, so that they can, that's the greatest welfare activity, so that they can come closer to Krishna, or give the Srila Prabhupada's books, or inspire them to take up Krishna consciousness, so that they will come closer to Krishna, and with that Krishna also will be very pleased, and we can also progress in the path of bhakti. So in the next few slokas, so Krishna is glorifying how these trees are fulfilling all the desires of whoever is approaching, like giving the leaves or flowers, fruits, roots, bark and wood, like that. So similarly, Krishna is telling that it is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others within his life with wealth, intelligence and words. Of course, the best welfare activities to give this Krishna consciousness to others through Krishna Prasadam, giving this Krishna Prasadam or books and all, like that. And then Krishna moving among the trees, then he came to the Yamuna river. And because of the sun's intense heat, so the cowherd boyfriends of Krishna are the cows and all very very thirsty. So here we see that the cowherd boys and cows, they drink the clear and cool water of the Yamuna, and then to their full satisfaction. And the last look of today, so then we saw these cowherd boys began herding the animals in a leisurely way within a small forest along the Yamuna, then soon became afflicted by hunger, and approaching Krishna and Balarama spoke as follows. So in the purport it is mentioned that, quoting Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary, saying that these cowherd boys, they are not concerned with their own hunger or thirsty, like that. Even though they were afflicted, so they are approaching Krishna and Balarama because they were thinking, they were concerned that Krishna and Balarama might be also hungry. So it is if we approach them, so Krishna and Balarama might arrange something so that Krishna and Balarama would take that bhoga. So their intent is maybe Krishna and Balarama might be hungry, so we should somehow or other arrange some bhoga for Krishna and Balarama, so that in that way they wanted to serve Krishna by arranging the bhoga, like that, not looking for themselves how to enjoy the food, like that. So the takeaway point for us also is to see how we can nicely serve the Supreme Lord Krishna and his devotees rather than our own personal sense gratification. So in the next chapter we see the wonderful pastime of how Krishna showering his mercy to the Brahmana Patnis. So I'll pause it here. Thank you all for joining. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhya vaishnavebhya namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Om, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Krishna and Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.